Welcome to Kicking It with the Kurz team. Here with you is Jennifer and Ray and
Of course,
Danny.
me.
And of course, Danny. We are missing Vanessa and Jose. Jose was actually going to show up today, and unfortunately, he was in an accident.
Car accident.
Yeah, he's okay, guys.
He's okay.
He's okay.
Thank God.
But I think he did that on purpose, so he doesn't have to show up on the show today.
He purposely wrecks.
I think so. And Danny likes to watch the show while we're
I like
live.
to see myself.
If you guys, apparently I'm getting phone calls. There's a lot of stuff going on today. If you guys are listening in, please share the show. Today we're going to discuss home buyer misconceptions. You can check us out at thecurzteam.com. You can also contact us if you have any questions or looking to purchase or looking to sell, 786-671-1758. And we're on Facebook and on Instagram at the Kurz team. That's how you can search for us. So as I mentioned to you, I am Jennifer. I am the leader of the Kurz team. And our topic of the day is actually sponsored by PRMG. PRMG is actually where you get your loans processed easier and faster. They're the mortgage company that we work with the most. Yep. We've all have experiences with Miriam. And Miriam is great. Yeah, exactly.
To say she's on point is an understatement.
Yes, definitely. And
Fantastic.
you can reach Miriam at 305-804-9108. Now, again, please share the show. Guys, any experiences this week that you might have?
Lots of them. Danny, you want to take it?
Actually, I have a great experience.
I like how he says, yeah, I have a lot of them, but Danny's going to start.
I have a lot of them. I'm going to let the Hispanic talk first. Okay, so the thing is, this entire weekend has been really, really moved. And one of the things that I want to share with you guys is, please, before you go to see any property, first you need to know how much you can afford. I have a couple of clients this weekend which have been saying and showing a couple of properties that they actually really liked, but they don't know yet how much they can afford. So in order to don't make it like don't break your own dreams, try to first get a pre-approval letter, because that time you won't waste your own time. Forget about my time. I'm gonna be there for you. I mean, we all gonna be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
about
point.
your time and your mental stability.
Exactly. I think it benefits both parties. It benefits the buyer. That way you actually know what you can afford. Exactly. And that way then we know exactly what to look for.
Exactly.
Yeah, and how to put you exactly in the right place. A lot of realtors tend to take clients out to see properties before they get pre-approved. In some cases, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, in your case, I was like, listen, just go and do it anyway. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times you buyers, which is the reason why we're having this show today, this topic specifically, you are like weird about working with an agent or something, or meeting up with an agent before you look at properties. You want to see the property first. So, in certain cases, I say, you know what, just go, give it a shot, meet with them, talk to them, then, great. If they like the property, great, move forward, or sit down with them and kind of go through the process.
Exactly.
Take advantage of the time that they've already made available to you.
Absolutely. It can be an emotional process, whether you're a seasoned buyer or you're a first-time buyer especially. So, sometimes it's important to sit down with your realtor, your real estate agent, and it kind of eases their nerves. You can walk through the process, and then maybe afterwards, you can go ahead and start talking about the pre-approval. Sometimes you may have to take a backtrack and kind of take a few baby steps to get there, but nevertheless, it's important.
It depends on the client. A lot of clients take just so apprehensive about the process, and it is the largest transaction they're going to make. Exactly. Every single time they make a new transaction that is pertaining to real estate is more than likely to be bigger than the one they did before.
Exactly.
Or an investment, for that matter, so it's additional to the one they've already made. So there's different things to that, and we're here to help. Any other experiences that you might have?
Let's see. Yeah, work's been great. Gonna try and generalize a little bit, about try and stay positive out there in this industry. And I think it goes into every aspect of life in reality. Usually when one door closes up, whether it be business related, personal, whatever it may be, usually another one is right there ready to open up. You just got to be willing to go ahead and accept it. And long story short, I had put in a few offers last week on some properties with an investor that I've been working with. And some of those offers had fallen through. I was having difficulty reaching the listing agents and whatnot. And lo and behold, no more than, 30 minutes before the show started, I got a phone call from the listing agent said that they're strongly considering our offer, so we have our fingers crossed. And just when I thought things were over and this was not going to go anywhere, we're going to have to start the search all over again.
Surprise, surprise.
I started getting, the ball started working again, So that's
we should
always
use that hashtag, surprise, surprise. We got to closing. Surprise, surprise, and appraise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, this industry will definitely bring you some hurdles. And whether you're an agent or the buyer or the seller, you're going to go through different parts that you have to climb, different mountains you have to climb. And it's not about the fact that the mountain is in the way. It's more about the journey to get across that mountain and actually getting across to get to your goal and see a waterfall at the end of that, right? To get a little bit dreamy about this. All right, my experience, let me see. I actually had a bachelorette weekend, so my experience is
way
a little
better
bit
than
personal.
Yes, you did.
But at the same time, I also find myself in an inspection for a property we finally got under contract last week.
Awesome.
And just moving along, like you said, we've been on the market for a couple months. Finally, got it under contract. Things happen. And it looks like everything's moving forward quite well. So we continue to move. As I was doing the numbers, we have a lot of stuff happening this month. Funny enough, because we had a whole lag when Maria came by. Yeah, and Irma. Yeah, we had a big
everything
lag.
stopped. Yeah. But well, you know what to do. We're back on track.
We were here even with no internet.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
we were here without
with,
any
with no internet, still working.
The day we got power, we were here huddling over one little hotspot. It was like 5 of us just taking turns,
Exactly.
making searches on the MLS, living inside of coffee shops, wherever we can find Wi-Fi to get the job done. We were out here getting it done,
and that's why it's showing the efforts of our labor is definitely showing up. As we continue and we don't stop, then it'll definitely flourish. So now, again, going back to the topic of the day, home buyer misconceptions. We've already mentioned how a lot of buyers have different ideas of what the market brings or reasons for why not doing something or why do something. So I have a list. And the list is somewhat extensive, but we're going to go through a couple of these. One of them is need lots of money. Is this true?
It is.
Not necessarily.
It depends. It all depends.
It depends.
Exactly.
Money is all in the eye of the beholder, right? What's your price range?
Exactly.
Some people think, especially first-time buyers, they really believe that you're going to need to come up with this atrocious down payment.
Yeah, like 20% down payment is the average that people consider.
Which is, okay, it's understandable. If you can do that, great, it's going to help you out. But most people don't understand that you can get approved with a much lower down payment, which is going to really ease you into that buying process. Most people think that since they can't afford a 20% down payment on a home that costs, I don't know, $350 and up, which is a considerable amount, they back out. And before you know, you could actually afford this at an affordable monthly rate as well after you've been qualified.
That's right. Fortunately for a lot of buyers right now, there are programs like the FHA programs, and for veterans, for that matter, you have a 0% down payment, which is,
a great
it's
help.
something you should definitely take advantage of. There's a 0% down payment. You can use it multiple times. You also have no PMI, so basically no mortgage insurance.
Exactly.
So as a VA, you definitely have a lot of great benefits, and you can qualify for more than FHA can, for that matter. But needless to say, these programs are available. You also have conventional programs at as low as 5% down payment. So no, you don't have to come up with 20% of the purchase price. You can come up with less. And you'll find yourself, if you're renting, you're paying 3 times, you're paying $3,000 a month. Times 3, that's already $9,000. You got yourself your 3%, 3.5% for the mortgage. Now you just got to account for the rest of it, whatever's missing. And there's ways to go about that, even asking for seller closing costs, seller credits, lender credits.
Exactly. You can also work with your seller and see how can they help you with the closing costs.
Exactly.
I have my own experience. Right now, I'm closing a sale with a VA loan. And one of the things that helped us in the transaction was one of the helps that the actual seller is giving us on the closing process. So it is, you have to have in mind everything that can help you, mostly you as a first-time buyer, because you don't know nothing.
Yeah. Well, you figure as a seller, if you're priced pretty decently, in more cases than not, you're going to find yourself getting offers below your asking price. So if you get an offer that's close enough or whatever, and they're asking for credit, you know, look at what you're really walking away with, and
course.
you know, and who the family is at the other end that's trying to get this home, and it's okay to help them out, to bring, you know, and not necessarily to help them out, to help each other out, because at the end of the day, you want to get the deal
You
done.
have the interest in some of the properties.
You know, so these are things to take into consideration. The other one is, all I need is the down payment. So there's one thing as a down payment to the loan. The other thing is the closing costs, which pertain to taxes. You have appraisal fees, you have lien search fees, you have survey fees, you have additional settlement fees that you need to take into account, both seller and buyer, when it comes to your purchase or sale.
Yeah.
You know, as a matter of fact, since we spoke about the VA loan, the veterans, for example, they have a zero deposit, but that doesn't mean they don't need to come out of pocket with any money.
Exactly.
They have to pay for their portion of the taxes, you know, for their settlement costs and so forth. And I think they have some additional fees. But essentially, there's some additional costs that you need to take into account. Again, it doesn't amount to 20%, or sometimes not even 5% for that matter. You know, it just depends on the purchase that you're making.
Yeah, also you have to play with the price point that you have. Most of the time, you don't have the same type of loan for every price point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of the other things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. The other one, need to have perfect credit. So I don't know if you guys know, but for FHA, the lowest credit score you can have, I believe, is 580.
580.
Yeah, 580. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people feel like 580 is a bad credit score, and it technically, you know, you're not all that
It's a
there.
soft one. It's a soft one, but it still is good enough to work with.
Exactly.
I mean, we still can work with that. We have a lot of buyers that comes to us asking us, listen, we have a really, really, really bad credit. I say, how bad it is. And they say, no, what is 600? So seriously, 600 is that bad for you?
You're good.
Hey, it happened to us on the way back from the ARIA event. You and I got in an Uber, and he asked us, our driver asked us,
Yeah.
hey, you know, I've been wanting to buy a house. I just don't know if I have the credit to do it, you know. And we asked him, you know, if you don't mind disclosing that with us. And I'm not going to say it on camera, but when he told us the number, I was like,
Dude, you're good
yes,
to go.
we can work with you.
You're
you
good
know.
to go. You're
You're
good to go.
You know, it's a common misconception that most people think that they would need
course.
to have stellar, you know, spotless record. And we're all humans. We all fall into our certain mistakes and whatever.
Yeah.
But as you know, as long as you can show there's evidence that you have been working
Of course.
to rectify whatever those issues
Well,
are.
and there's
you know.
ways. Some of these issues are easily fixable.
yeah.
You know, the lender that we work with, as I mentioned before, Miriam, she's amazing. She'll actually put together the whole process for you, even, you know, on how to, like, what items should be taken care of in order for you to get more qualified or better qualified. You know what I mean? It's just these are things that you need to take into account. You know, but the credit score, it doesn't have to be perfect, so keep that in mind. Next, need to find a home before talking to a mortgage company or bank. So without talking to, like, which is what you said, without talking to a mortgage lender or a bank, you don't really know if you qualify, or don't really know how much you qualify, or if what you thought you qualified for is what you really wanted to pay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going that route. It's kind of, it may break your heart, it may not. You may fall in love with a property, and you may come to see that you may not be able to qualify for it, or if everything works out, you may be able to qualify for it and then some. You never really know, but I personally feel that it's better to know what you're getting yourself into before you begin that home search.
Of course.
It's so important. You know, in addition to that, like right now, offers are not being considered unless the buyer proves their qualification.
Absolutely. You have to be able to provide proof of funds before you submit any offer.
And that's a deal breaker over there, because the thing is, if you finally find something, and let's say that for some reason you already know how much you're going to be pre-approved, even though you haven't been pre-approved yet, and you find a property that you actually like, you're not going to be able to make an offer if you don't have the pre-approval letter.
Yeah.
So
Which means you're going to be wasting time at least 24 to 48 hours, at least, which means that in a property that's really hot, in a hot area, it's more than likely not to last.
Exactly.
You know, there will be other offers coming in. There will be people that are equally interested, that are in the same price point, that are qualified and already pre-qualified, and can submit the offer.
At the end of the day, when you fall in love with a property and you want to put in an offer on it, you want those sellers to take your offer seriously.
Yeah.
And one of the ways to do that is to be able to prove that you can afford, you know, what you're essentially offering to purchase. So that's very important.
Yep. And let's see. The other thing is, any home I buy will be worth more money in the future. Is this true? Any home.
It depends.
Exactly.
It all depends. It all depends. That's one of the things why you should talk to professionals and don't say, "Oh my God, I love this neighborhood. I want to buy."
It's important to do your research in the market.
Of course.
With regards to the areas that you want to purchase.
Of course. I mean,
some areas may be up and coming. In other words, they may be undergoing a whole surge of new development, and it may be great to get in now where you can actually get in at affordable prices and you can turn around, maybe force some equity into the home and then go ahead and turn around and sell it for a profit later on. And sometimes you have markets or rather areas that just aren't moving at all, and when you run comparables and you run the numbers, you start to see that, well, they don't really sell for that much more than what I purchased them. So I think at the end it all comes down to research. It comes down to really understanding the market that you're looking
How
to
it's
purchase
moving,
into,
definitely.
what you're purchasing as well.
Yeah.
Be it a condo, be it a single-family home.
How attractive it could be.
no,
What's the
and,
number?
and that search is extremely important because at the end of the day, if you don't know how the market is moving, how would you know if it is a good movement that what you're doing? I mean, if it is the right offer, you need to know the properties that you have around it, how much are they being sold, you know? How much you need to, for your property, you need to take a look at the comparables, how you were saying. So it's important to know the market.
Yeah. Oh, one thing with that is, you're not necessarily going to make money off of every single home. There are some areas that are not necessarily the best areas.
Exactly.
That you'll just buy the home, you might spend some money on it, and you're not really going to get a return. Yeah. It might sit there for many, many years, and it might stay within the same value. So again, as they mentioned, research is really important. Having a professional do the research and help you understand the areas is key. All right, let me see. We have Zillow and Trulia, and any online home estimate website are accurate. That's another misconception.
Yeah, no. The plain and simple answer to that is no, and a lot of these websites actually...
He's like, no, real quick.
No, that's it.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, a lot of them, make... Zillow, for example, puts a disclaimer, with regards to the accuracy rather, of their, I think they call it Zestimates.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In fact, there was a class action lawsuit that was filed against them, and rightfully so, they got that lawsuit dismissed. Because, one of the reasons why was because they flat out expressly stated on their website that this is not an accurate measure. It takes data from all sorts of different other sites, and whether or not those sites are accurate or not, it could all affect the end result.
I think in Miami it's so difficult to determine. To have an online estimate. In Miami it's so difficult because you're going based on a radius. And like Coconut Grove, you have certain neighborhoods that don't have the value, a high luxury value, and then you have a luxury neighborhood right next to it. So, so you have that problem. The same thing happens near Coral Gables a little bit.
I think it's anywhere in Miami. You'll cross, and in one moment you'll be in a high luxury area, like you said, and then you'll just cross one street, and then the market's completely different, even though it's all within the same radius.
You can see that in Overtown, Midtown, all those areas that are growing a lot right now. I mean, mostly Midtown is growing a lot, in the commercial area, so that gives value to the neighborhood, and that's one of the reasons that you see the difference between one block and the other one. We see a big difference in that area.
Yeah, so be careful when you look at these things. They're not accurate, and I know that a lot in Miami. As a matter of fact, I used to look at it when I had a home in Washington State. I used to look at Zillow, and it was a little bit more accurate. I had a realtor friend, so I was able to determine whether or not it was, and I could see where they're located. Granted, I'm a realtor, so I know how to look at the area. So I can see where the homes that sold were located and say, okay, these homes look like mine, and this is what's happening. But essentially, the main estimate that was given wasn't necessarily what my home was worth when I sold it. You know what I mean? It was still a little bit off, even in places that are not going through the same things as Coconut Grove.
Yeah, no, there needs to be more of a human touch when doing your research with regards to these estimates. It's always important to consult with a realtor, whoever it is that you may choose to use, so that they can really go ahead and analyze the market and run a comprehensive search using the right technology, the right software, and their own experience.
Yeah.
You really can't beat that human touch.
No, you can't. That custom, it's custom basically.
Yeah,
All right, the next one is it's not a good time to buy a home. how do you know if it's a good time or it's a bad time? You know, what do you see? Is the market really high? Or is it, you know what I mean? Are you basing it on factors of the process? You know,
Yeah,
are you?
It's all relative. Is it relative to your personal situation? How do you know what your personal situation is if you haven't even been pre-approved yet? How do you know if it's a good or bad time to buy?
Yeah, I mean, is it a good time to buy in Miami?
It depends if you want to buy an apartment or if you want to buy a house.
It depends where you want to make those purchases.
Exactly.
As well.
I think they're both good.
Exactly.
To generalize, I believe so.
I think they're both good. The condo market, I mean, and it also depends what you're trying to do.
There's construction everywhere.
There's construction everywhere, but the buyers have a flexibility. You know, they can actually knock down the price a little bit, you know, so you might be able to get that.
Exactly.
The other thing is, if you buy in the single family market, you're still, the market hasn't gone too high, you know what I mean? But you're still within that time frame where the market is moving and it's stable, you know, and if you have to buy, you know, you also have to consider the other options. You know, you have mortgages, you have interest rates. You know, would you rather wait until the market is a little bit more expensive and maybe interest rate is more expensive? How do you know where you fall with that?
Well, that's the other thing, and I hope I'm not mistaken. If I am, please comment below and let me know. But when I heard the Fed is raising interest rates 1%. So that's going to affect everything. You may think to yourself, well, I'm looking to buy right now, but I think I'm going to wait. Well, if you wait a little bit later, you may not be able to get in to the property, or rather the neighborhood that you're looking to get yourself into, just because of the fact that if interest rates rise,
you might have, if interest rate rise
it may raise your monthly payment.
Yeah.
It may raise everything.
And you're buying the property at the same value that you would found it this
Yeah.
year, yet you're paying more because the interest rate is higher.
Exactly.
So you have to consider those options. Or it could be the other way around. The property value might be higher because as interest rates continue to be low, you still have a lot of buyers. So, you know, the property values still go, you know, they're bound to rise. So take that into account. Let's see what else we have here. Need to start with a very low offer to start negotiations.
Okay, excuse me. Let's see. Depends on how low, because you don't want to go in too low and not really be taken seriously.
What do you think? Very low offer to start negotiations.
You don't have to go too low, but it's important to go low because you want to meet at a halfway point. It depends on a number of things. Again, it's relative. Hey, have there been any other offers on the property? How long has the property been sitting on the market? What area is the property located in? All those things and others play factors to help you determine what your essentially your first offer, you know, to break the ice is. It also depends if you're looking to purchase as a first-time buyer to live in or as an investor.
Yeah.
Because if you're an investor, then you have to go ahead and
Then
run your numbers.
Yeah.
And see what kind
Then
of
you're
return.
submitting offers based on the return that you're intending to get.
Precisely.
But if you're, you know, an end user, the person that's trying to live in the home, and there's a lot of competition, the home looks great,
If
you know.
you made the wrong offer, you made the wrong offer.
You lose.
That's
You lose.
like it is. Oh, we have
Hey,
candy.
we got some chocolate.
Yeah.
And it has caramel.
These are the best. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
It's gonna sugar up.
How good is this broker?
So-
He brings us chocolate. Oh,
I know. And then he's always trying to get me on a diet and complain.
Now we're gonna be in the show with all of this black.
As if I need any more chocolate in my life, but I'm going to go for it anyways. I'm getting a little... It's the holidays.
Be careful, you guys are trying to impress people.
Yep.
All right, next.
Ladies.
No, with my belly.
Have to save money by not using a real estate agent.
Total misconception. Excuse me. Come on,
I'm gonna say something about that.
They got offended.
No.
And I'm gonna quote one of our great friend agents here, Mr. Dustin. He said, statistically, if you sell your property by yourself, you're being in risk of losing at least 20% of the real value of the property.
That's what statistics
And you're gonna risk at 20% just because you want to save 6%, which means you're gonna be losing 14%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's if you're listing.
at the end of the day, you can do whatever you'd like, but honestly, statistics do show that if you work with a realtor, you'll get a little bit, what is it, 20% is what they say.
Yeah,
on
20%
average.
over, more than you would if you were to sell the property on your own.
In addition to that, it's not just slapping a sign on the front of your house. It goes beyond just listing the house on the MLS. It goes down to marketing the property.
Marketing the property.
Excellent photographs, videos of the property, publicating the property in other publications, social media, pushing it out there, really trying to market the property, get the home to sell, for example. And if you're not a realtor, you don't have access to some of those things. You don't have access to the MLS. And you don't get the general advice.
Yeah, honestly, if you don't use a realtor and you're trying to do this on your own, you think a realtor is trying to bring you up in value when let's go to buyers.
Yeah.
The realtor is trying to get you to spend more money so that they can make more money on commissions. No, actually, that's
really.
not the case.
It doesn't work like
Increments
that.
are so small. At the end of the day, it's the seller that's gonna pretty much select the commission on
Yeah,
that.
and if you
anyways.
try to negotiate on your own, you're bound to get yourself in an emotional negotiation in which you might actually lose the home. So you tend to lose in that case.
I think
The
the
worst
beauty
part-
of that is, I'm sorry, Danny.
No, what I was going to say is the worst part is you will never understand that unless you had the experience, the actual experience. Because I've seen people say, no, but I'm doing it myself. Listen, did it once. Did it once, and you know how hard it is to sell your property by yourself. I'm talking about sellers this time. If you want to go through all that process again, that's your call. It's not mine. But I'm here to help you. At the end of the day, that's what we do. We don't do anything different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's important, as a buyer's agent, it's important to have that guidance, especially if it's your first time purchasing a home.
Yeah.
Like Danny said, it's an emotional process. Things could get heated.
Exactly.
And you want someone, and hey, look, you may work with one of us or work with another realtor, and you may look out and realize that the realtor that you're working with is close friends with the listing agent, and because of that, their offer may be looked at more favorably. They may be bumped up to the top of the list, or they may be able to do something if you can't come up with a full price, or whatever the case may be. Chances are, if you've been in this industry long enough, we all know each other.
Exactly.
And I may know the listing agent on the other side of the table, and I might be able to pull some strings, or in the sense I can
That
just pick
makes
up
a
the
big
phone
difference.
and say, hey, listen, my buyer, it's a first-time buyer, really wants this home.
Yeah.
What can we do to
How about,
really get them into this?
How about driving around? You go driving around, or you go online looking at properties, you look at Zillow and Trulia, and you're looking at stuff that's not accurate, wasting all of your time, and yet, you can have somebody just basically say, here, this is the menu, and you just got to pick your entree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty much. So that's one of the things that we have here. Let me see. Working directly with the listing agent will save you money and will give you an upper hand.
That can be.
So just so that you know, the listing agent has a fiduciary duty to the seller, not to you. Therefore, they're trying to get the highest and best value for the seller. All right. In addition to that, they're not really, they want the full commission. So they are really not trying to negotiate value.
No, not at all. They want to be able to get the full commission. They see you coming in without another agent. And for them, they smell blood in the water. And because they're automatically going to assume that you're inexperienced, you may maybe at most have done this. Realistically, how many times does somebody sell a house?
Yeah.
We do it on a regular basis. It's our full-time jobs. And going in there without that experience, a listing agent might be able to smell the blood on the water or see how green you may be to this situation. And they may try, not necessarily take advantage, but they're going to want to get the highest and best value because they have, like you said, that ethical and fiduciary duty to their seller.
Yes, and then I'm here, by the way, guys, I am looking at my computer today, so I can interact with you. If you have something to say or you have any questions, feel free to
please
write
do
them in
comment.
there. I will read them and I will answer them as soon as I see them. Let's see, what else? Buying a home that needs lots of renovations will be cheaper. So this is kind of like the story of buying the ugly home in the right neighborhood, sort of. So you got to be careful when you do that because you might spend a little too much money on renovation.
It's important if you're going to do that. And personally, look, I'm to a large degree, I'm an advocate of that. I'm always into forcing equity into home buying, kind of the rundown, the fixer-upper in the nice neighborhood, getting yourself into that neighborhood that you want at the price point that you want. But you have to be careful. Bring a contractor. Make sure that inspection goes very well because more often than not, things always go over budget, whether it's by a little bit, a small increment, or a large amount. Either way, so be careful, especially if it's your first time doing that. Really consult with a professional, with a contractor that's going to give you the best
the right
picture
value,
as to what's what this is really going to cost you. But to some degree, it's a smart thing. Just got to
the other day I had an experience with this new client that she asked me. No, the thing is, I'm looking for properties around the 350,000, but in a neighborhood with all the properties are 500,000. I said, listen, what exactly are you looking for? No, I'm looking for something that I can fix because it's already maybe it's on the short sales or it's on on a foreclosure, said, listen, $200,000, that's not like a regular issue. That's not a regular short sale or regular foreclosure. That's another kind of situation that we have over there. When you have $250,000 over the price, it's because something else is happening. She told me, no, because I want to put some equity on the property at the end of the day. I want to get a property that's not in the best shape, so I can, put some money on it and leverage the property. I said, the $250,000, you need to be, at the end of the day, you just need to think a little bit, and you have to use some common sense. It's not all about you're gonna find a property that's $250,000 and it's just gonna change a life and it's gonna go 500,000.
No.
It takes. So you need to sit
in most cases in a $500,000 neighborhood, if you have a property of $250,000, $300,000,
that's just a land.
You're more than likely to spend a lot of money on it.
That's just depends.
And then, another thing, this is not in every case, but foreclosures nowadays are not necessarily at its lowest value like they were before. No. A lot of banks are asking for more because they see people that are interested in the home buyers that are willing to pay and that the home does qualify for the financing. So they're willing to take on or wait until they get a good offer.
Of course.
The only time that would be different is if the property has a lot of issues, which in this case, like he said, hire a contractor to determine the value, that it would, how much it'll cost you.
Specialist, of course.
Okay. So, all right. So we have pulling your credit with multiple lenders will hurt your credit. No, it won't. You have 30 days upon first pulling your credit with a lender to be able to shop around to other lenders if you would. So, I know a lot of you guys are looking at Bank of America, Chase, and all these other banks to get pre-qualified. If they don't do a full pre-qualification where they look at your full income, they pull your credit and everything, then you're more than likely not 100% pre-qualified. You also have to consider the differences. I'm not going to say which one's better, Miriam, but
just saying.
No, seriously.
But definitely take into account, you're in a big bank, you're definitely in a bank that you trust, but at the same time, you're one in many. And where you go with a broker or a mortgage lender that's local, you are one, and they're going to look at you, face to face, and they are actually going to try and make this transaction close for you.
That's another thing. Just now that you talk about this, another thing is don't try it. This is a big thing. Trying to run your credit with different companies is a big thing. But if you're gonna also buy a car, don't do it during this process, during this time. I mean, it's a bad time to run your.
How many times has that?
It has happened a lot.
What are you doing?
Well, we had a situation which we were almost closing, like maybe a week or a couple days shy, and the person decides to buy a Porsche right before. So what happens is when you do those inquiries, your credit score changes, and it changes your. If you actually get a loan for a vehicle, now your debt to income ratios also change.
Exactly.
So the more stuff that you do, if you're trying to get a loan, like a personal loan to be able to get cash to put into that's not going to work either. They're going to take into account the debt that you have and what you're doing. You know what I mean? To be able to get the mortgage.
Yeah, keep it clean until the deal's done.
Yeah, please.
So I have here, let me see.
Arnaldo Saez.
Arnaldo Saez. He says, hey guys, I'm licensed in New York and New Jersey. Just moved down to Boca and working on getting licensed in Florida. I've been researching your team and I like what I see. Look forward to setting up a meeting once I'm licensed here to see if I can be a part of the Kurz team. Love the live streams. Hey,
Arnaldo. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we can't wait to meet you. Just so that you know, David Kurz is actually sponsoring the licenses. So we'll actually reach out to you. If you can private message me your email, I'll have David Kurz reach out to you, and he's basically sponsoring the licenses here in Florida, a couple of them, not too many. So if you're interested in getting a Florida license, we would be very happy to help you out with that. So private message us for that. Thank you so much for the feedback. Let's see what else. You should buy a home for the maximum that you qualify for. No. No.
It's not like that. At the end of the day, it's not like that. We all know that. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to put all the money that you have. You're not going to empty your pockets just once. Yeah. You're going to know how to move your numbers. Exactly.
Yeah. What a lender does is they determine your debt. They look at your income. They determine how much you can pay on a monthly basis, where it's reasonable according to lenders' qualifications, and in that point, they'll give you like a pre-qualification. But just because the lender says that you can purchase a home in that value, it doesn't mean, you're welcome, by the way, Arnaldo, he just said thank you. Just because you purchase, you get pre-qualified for that value, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that you're comfortable with. You may have a different lifestyle. You may have certain, amount of money that you want to keep in your pocket, so you have to, when you're speaking to a lender, please tell them, listen, based on my monthly payment that I want, let's say $1,900, $2,000, how much do I qualify with an FHA loan, a conventional loan? The rates change depending on the loan that you have. Interest rates are different depending on the loan that you have. Honestly, I almost want to be a veteran because veterans have a lot of great benefits. It is. So if you're a veteran, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you find a home.
Seriously, absolutely. We really work with that. Our broker is a veteran first.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's so many benefits out there, so many things. Please disregard any misconceptions. Speak to a professional. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're reaching the close of the show. Before we close, I wanted to tell you about our charities. Remember that we support the National Association of Hispanic Realtors, Real Estate Professionals, which is NAREP, the Women Council of Realtors, the Dominican Association of Real Estate Professionals, the Boys and Girls Club of America. And those, you can actually find information on them on our website. And in addition to that, we also have the Hometown Heroes program. So I know you guys have heard me speak about veterans a lot, but we also help other people. We help the people that we consider our hometown heroes.
Nurses, teachers, firefighters.
First responders.
Exactly. That's a bunch of people.
Yeah. So what we do is you work with us, and with our affiliates, you're able to get money back at closing in the HUD. And basically, this helps you come out of pocket with less money in your purchase. And we do this because you do so much for us. Now we're here to give you something back, and because we want you to be in the home of your dreams with your family and build memories, new memories. So if you have questions, or you are a veteran, a firefighter, a police officer, or know of one, what else, a nurse and a teacher, reach out to us. We're here to help. Again, our phone number is 786-671-1758. That's 786-671-1758. You can also check us out at thekursteam.com. And we're on Facebook Live. And every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, you can reach us there on Facebook and on Instagram at The Kurz Team.
Or 5 minutes before.
Yeah, 5 minutes before we go live.
We're going to give you that
before we go.
Very important, guys.
Very important. So let me see how we can see this, or if you guys can see this. But technically, what we're doing is a free home buyer seminar this Saturday. It's from 11 to 2 p.m. It's going to take place in our office. Our office address is 3692 Grand Avenue in Coconut Grove. And basically, we're going to offer you lunch. We're going to offer you coffee. And we're going to take you from every single step to the getting pre-qualified, to speaking with a realtor, to the inspection company, to obtaining insurance, to getting your credit repaired. The whole shebang, just for you, so you know exactly what you need to do as a home buyer. Okay, if you want to get pre-qualified that day, you actually can. Just bring proof of income, your taxes, ID, and anything else that you might think of that could be relative to your income and your resources to be able to get pre-qualified. You can register. I'm going to put the link on the video, but basically it's the Kurz Team, HBS.eventbrite.com. Again, I'll put it on here so that you guys can register. Feel free to register ASAP. We're going to be there. We look forward to seeing you, and thank you again. Share the show. Have a great day.
See you.